We truly believe as an organization that learning is a blended experience, and especially for social emotional learning, it needs to be about the human interactions, right? Like the relationships you develop.
It's 7 a.m. here, so I forgot how noisy the Australian birds are. They're like caw 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 caw. I was like, crap. So we'll see. And the kids are sleeping, so they might wake up. So I think your husband will be a lot quieter. Congratulations. How's married life?
Our first year of marriage is pretty unique, confined together. It's great. Not that bad, actually. We're like, oh, spend more time together. This is nice.
So how are things going otherwise?
So it's been crazy. I feel like it's like the early days of like even when we started the company because it's nonstop. And I mean, one of the first things that we did was we responded and saw what was happening, and so we decided to offer our solution, like all our resources for free. And that's just been like an onslaught of like inbound kind of inquiries and people that's interested. I think I haven't looked at the latest numbers, but there's definitely over 700,000 students served in requests that we've had.
Tell me, what is Pikaback? Because I guess take us through the early days of journey. Like, what was your vision when you first started building Pikapack, which I think is absolutely brilliant. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I started it with my co-founder, Angie Chan, who's my amazing best friend. And we both really, simply wanted to equip the next generation of young children with the skills to be like global citizens, to be kind, to be compassionate, to have gratitude, to take care of this world. And that's how simple it was. We use narratives and stories as our kind of way to bring that to life. And then over time, as we developed the organization, we realized that what we did really well was help young learners understand concepts like gratitude, or how they can, be kind to each other and be respectful. And underlying everything we do is really this concept of social emotional learning. We first started off with these narratives, but we've kind of grown into a whole kind of curriculum for school boards and schools. We have a parent curriculum so they can extend that learning. And we have a whole learning game now. So I never thought I would be building digital games for young kids, but we have a whole learning world. And it's been exciting. I joke sometimes that, I started one company, but I really felt like I've started, 5 companies in the process of doing this.
And so in terms of the delivery of the, do you call them modules or the program itself, how is it actually delivered? Like, walk me through, you said that sounds like there's a section for educators and then a section for parents. Is it all digital at the moment, or is there also a physical component to it?
So it's funny. So we first started off as like a fully physical hands-on experience, pivoted into digital. And so a lot of what we're doing is helping equip the educator and the parent with the conversation starters or the learning so that they can facilitate that relationship. They can help, bring out that learning in the child.
How did you know that this was an area that was untapped, or an area that needed more focus on? What did you see in the curriculum or just in mainstream, parenting, that you felt you needed to include Pikapack into that consideration?
When we first started off, we wanted to come from a place of research. And so we actually mocked up really quickly a lesson, like just a concept, like a really basic concept. And we said, how can we quickly validate this? And we were really lucky. We were in this program in Silicon Valley where another kind of classmate of this kind of program that was going through this accelerator experience had a database of teachers. And they said, if you can give this lesson for free to our teacher base, we'll promote it. And they're like, maybe we'll get 50, 100 teachers sign up for it and give you some feedback. Over the course of, I think, about 9 weeks, we had 13,000 teachers sign up for the lesson, which was really exciting because there was a lot of interest and demand for it. And then a lot of them actually took the time to use the lesson, give us thoughtful feedback. And they said, yes, this is exactly what we need. And we said, why? And they said, because it's not required. And because it's not required, it's actually pushed out of our time and our curriculum. And what we did differently to make it possible was that because it was literacy focused and in a book format, and our lessons were kind of reading and writing oriented, it made it possible for them to fit it into their required curriculum. The other thing I'll mention is if you just look at the stats, I think around the world, globally, in any kind of region, mental health, especially amongst youth, is becoming increasingly an issue. And as there is increased screen time, there's often a sense of isolation. There's the increased incidences of cyberbullying, and students need like a way to have positive outlets. Otherwise, they could succumb to social media or pressures that may not necessarily be helpful.
Absolutely, particularly during this time of change for students, as well as students changing into university or K-5. It's quite a it's going to be a very important time in order to nurture their mental health and well-being. Not just whilst we're in this time, but then on the other side of it, in terms of the new normal.
Sure,
right?
Sure. I mean, there's so much anxiety right now for especially those high school students or university students where they're losing precious time. And it's, everyone's probably going through a certain level of anxiety. And so, having that in perspective and taking care of our mental health during now or after is going to be so crucial.